Section 2 of the Second Jungle Book. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Reynard. The Second Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Section 2. How Fear Came. Part 2.
"What is this right Shere Khan speaks of?" Mowgli whispered in Bagheera's ear. "To kill man is always shameful. The law says so, and yet Hathi says—" "Ask him. I do not know, little brother. Right or no right, if Hathi had not spoken, I would have taught that lame butcher his lesson. To come to the Peace Rock fresh from a kill of man, and to boast of it, is a jackal's trick. Besides, he tainted the good water." Mowgli waited for a minute to pick up his courage, because no one dared to address Hathi directly, and then he cried: "What is Shere Khan's right, O Hathi?" Both banks echoed his words, for all the people of the jungle are intensely curious, and they had just seen something that none except Baloo, who looked very thoughtful, seemed to understand. "It is an old tale," said Hathi, "a tale older than the jungle. Keep silence along the banks, and I will tell that tale." There was a minute or two of pushing, a shouldering among the pigs and the buffalo, and then the leaders of the herds grunted, one after another, "We wait," and Hathi strode forward till he was nearly knee deep in the pool by the Peace Rock. Lean and wrinkled and yellow-tusked though he was, he looked what the jungle knew him to be, their master. "Ye know, children," he began, "that of all things ye most fear man." And there was a mutter of agreement. "This tale touches thee, little brother," said Bagheera to Mowgli. "I am of the Pack, a hunter of the Free People," Mowgli answered. "What have I to do with man?" "And ye do not know why ye fear man?" Hathi went on. "This is the reason. In the beginning of the jungle, and none know when that was, we of the jungle walked together, having no fear of one another. In those days there was no drought, and leaves and flowers and fruit grew on the same tree, and we eat nothing at all except leaves and flowers, and grass and fruit and bark." "I am glad I was not born in those days," said Bagheera. "Bark is only good to sharpen claws." "And the lord of the jungle was Tha, the first of the elephants. He drew the jungle out of deep waters with his trunk, and where he made furrows in the ground with his tusks, there the rivers ran, and where he struck with his foot, there rose ponds of good water. And when he blew through his trunk, thus, the trees fell. That was the manner in which the jungle was made by Tha, and so the tale was told to me." "It has not lost fat in the telling," Bagheera whispered, and Mowgli lost behind his hand. "In those days there was no corn, or melons, or pepper, or sugar cane. Nor were there any little huts such as ye have all seen. And the jungle people knew nothing of man, but lived in the jungle together, making one people. But presently they began to dispute over their food. Though there was grazing enough for all, they were lazy. Each wished to eat where he lay, as sometimes we can do now when the spring rains are good. Tha, the first of the elephants, was busy making new jungles and leading the rivers in their beds. He could not walk in all places. Therefore he made the first of the tigers, the master and the judge of the jungle, to whom the jungle people should bring their disputes. In those days the first of the tigers ate fruit and grass with the others. He was as large as I am, and he was very beautiful, in colour all over like the blossom of the yellow creeper. There was never stripe nor bar upon his hide in those good days when the jungle was new. All the jungle came before him without fear, and his word was the law of all the jungle. We were then, remember ye, one people. Yet upon a night there was a dispute between two bucks, a grazing quarrel, such as ye now settle with the horns and the forefeet. And it is said that as the two spoke together before the first of the tigers, lying among the flowers, a buck pushed him with his horns, and the first of the tigers forgot that he was the master and judge of the jungle, and leaping upon that buck, broke his neck. Till that night never one of us had died, and the first of the tigers, seeing what he had done, and being made foolish by the scent of the blood, ran away into the marshes of the north, and we of the jungle, left without a judge, fell to fighting amongst ourselves. And Thar heard the noise of it, and came back. Then some of us said this, and some of us said that, but he saw the dead buck among the flowers, and asked who had killed, and we of the jungle would not tell, because the smell of the blood made us foolish. We ran to and fro in circles, capering and crying out and shaking our heads. Then Thar gave an order to the trees that hang low, and to the trailing creepers of the jungle, that they should mark the killer of the buck, so that he should know him again. And he said, "Who will now be master of the jungle people?" Then up leaped the grey ape who lives in the branches, and said, "I will now be master of the jungle." And Thar laughed and said, "So be it," and went away very angry. Children, ye know the grey ape. He was then as he is now. At the first he made a wise face for himself, but in a little while he began to scratch and to leap up and down, and when Thar came back he found the grey ape hanging head down from a bough, mocking those who stood below, and they mocked him again, and so there was no law in the jungle, only foolish talk and senseless words. Then Thar called us all together and said, "The first of your masters has brought death into the jungle, and the second shame. Now it is time there was a law, and a law that ye must not break. Now ye shall know Fear, and when ye have found him ye shall know that he is your master, and the rest shall follow." Then we of the jungle said, "What is Fear?" And Thar said, "Seek till ye find." So he went up and down the jungle seeking for Fear, and presently the buffaloes— "Ugh!" said Mysa, the leader of the buffaloes, from their sad bank. "Yes, Mysa, it was the buffaloes. They came back with the news that in a cave in the jungle sat Fear, and that he had no hair and went upon his hind legs. Then we of the jungle followed the herd till we came to that cave, and Fear stood at the mouth of it, and he was, as the buffaloes had said, hairless, and he walked upon his hinder legs. When he saw us he cried out, and his voice filled us with the fear that we have now of that voice when we hear it, and we ran away, tramping upon and tearing each other because we were afraid. That night, so it was told to me, we of the jungle did not lie down together as used to be our custom, but each tribe drew off by itself, the pig with the pig, the deer with the deer, horn to horn, hoof to hoof, like keeping to like,